Hello, welcome. I am presenting how Red Wiggler Community Farm matches abilities to farm tasks. We are excited to be presenting at the virtual 2021 Pasa conference and to be a part of the Pasa community. I'm Andrea Barnhart, and I am the Care Farming Network Project Manager, a special project organized by Red Wiggler Community Farm. At the Care Farming Network, we are building a network of care farms to connect to each other to share resources. As a past farm manager at Red Wiggler, today I'll share how Red Wiggler successfully operates a care farm. Here's what we're going to talk about today. We'll give an overview first of who we are and our core programs. Then we'll talk about how we develop and utilize each person's strengths. We'll talk specifically about how we develop and track vocational goals and farm skills, how we assign teams and tasks according to what needs to get done, and how we standardize and develop systems. Lastly, we'll talk about our challenges and lessons learned over the years. Here's a little background about our farm. Red Wiggler Farm was founded in 1996, and we are excited to be celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. Red Wiggler is a 501c3 nonprofit farm located in Montgomery County, Maryland, about a 20-minute drive from Washington, D.C. Montgomery County, Maryland is a large county and a mix of preserved agricultural land and developed suburbs of Washington, D.C. Red Wiggler Farm leases land from Montgomery County Parks as part of a public-private partnership and is located on park property. Red Wiggler leases and manages 12 acres of land, which includes office space, parking, and a solar house where the executive director lives. 7 acres is enclosed with a deer fence, and we cultivate about 4 acres of land each year for vegetables, herbs, and flowers. On those 4 acres, Red Wiggler grows and distributes about $120,000 of vegetables each year, with over 40% going to low-income households. Our annual budget is $685,000 with 5 full-time staff, an executive director, farm manager, assistant farm manager, education coordinator, and volunteer coordinator, as well as a part-time business manager and project manager. We have 15 growers on staff who are adults with developmental disabilities who work on the farm and get paid minimum wage or higher. In addition, each year, as part of our service learning program, we host over 300 volunteers on the farm who come and work, learn, and grow with us. Red Wiggler's vision is to create fertile ground to nourish a healthy and inclusive community. We do this by being a sustainable farm where people with and without developmental disabilities come together to work, learn, and grow healthy food. We emphasize the words work, learn, and grow because they describe the intersection of our core programs. Before we get started, I'll recognize that this year has been challenging and we've made many changes to our programs. However, this presentation will mainly talk about how we operated pre-COVID. I'll briefly go through our programs. Red Wiggler provides meaningful jobs to adults with developmental and intellectual disabilities. We employ 15 growers with intellectual and developmental disabilities throughout the season as part-time staff. Growers are paid minimum wage and are the core workers who are seeding in the greenhouse, planting transplants, weeding, harvesting, and distributing the vegetables. Most growers work part-time, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. with a break for lunch. And we also have growers work during the CSA pickups on Saturday. Each grower has a unique job description based on their skills, and growers have jobs in all aspects of farming, education, and distribution. We believe in the dignity of earning a paycheck by doing meaningful work, and growers gain a professional identity as farmers. A key component to Red Wiggler is our volunteer program. Each year, we average over 300 volunteers who work alongside our growers in the fields. We aim to attract volunteers who can volunteer more than 20 hours in order to create a more meaningful connection with our community. We have different types of volunteers: regular adult volunteers, adults with developmental disabilities, students and school groups, corporate groups, as well as interns who usually work the whole season. In addition to our service learning program, Red Wiggler has an education program. We average 900 education participants yearly who are taught lessons on soil health, plant life cycles, or healthy eating. Lastly, our distribution program encompasses the distribution of vegetables and the actual process of getting the food to consumers. We have a CSA model, which includes on-farm CSA pickups, food to group homes, food to our local food bank, and produce to our staff and volunteers. We have a yearly goal of distributing 30% of our produce to low-income households. And that's increased up to 50% in 2020 and 2021 in response to the need brought on by COVID. Now let's get into the nuts and bolts of what we do and how we do it. Growers are tracked on over 50 farm and vocational skills. So we're going to briefly run through our standard farm skills. There's greenhouse tasks and skills, which includes soil prep, seeding, watering, potting on, and thinning. Planting skills include transplanting plants like lettuce, tomatoes, and greens. Planting large seeds like garlic, potatoes, and onions. Seeding with an earthway seeder, and watering in transplants. There's harvest skills. Harvest skills include harvesting with a pitchfork, harvesting beets, turnips, radishes, and onions, bunching greens, harvesting tomatoes, and harvesting with a knife. Post-harvest handling skills includes washing, counting, bagging, labeling, sorting produce, weighing, and setting up for the market. Field maintenance skills include pulling up plastic, weeding, thinning, mulching, raking, mowing, and applying compost. Then there's tool skills. There's different tools on the farm, which include a rake, pounder, knife, lopper, wheel hoe, weed whacker, lawnmower, golf cart, and the dibbler. Vocational social skills, which include tour guide and customer interaction. How do we develop and utilize each person's strengths? So now that you have a picture of the vocational skills that we're focused on, let's talk about how we develop each person's strengths. First, we want to match the right person to the right job. We are most successful as a farm when everyone is working independently on a job they enjoy and excel at. The first step in achieving a good match is learning what people want and balancing that with the skills they currently have. We talk with growers regularly about which jobs they enjoy, skills they are good at, and what skills they want to learn. Whenever possible, we give individuals a choice. We set 2 individual vocational goals for each person each year. These might be farm skills, or they might be a more general vocational skill, like signing in or being ready to work on time. At the beginning of the season, the growers help set their goals so that at least one goal is something they really enjoy. We use the SMART model for assigning goals. The goals must be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and on a timeline. We try to assign tasks appropriate to these goals and remind everyone that the work is a learning experience as we do the work. After work each day, the team leaders make notes on any individual goals that we worked on. At mid-season, we do a formal check-in to update ourselves on progress and make changes if needed. Then at the end of the season, we do another formal check-in to assess whether the goal was met and whether there's anything we want to carry over to the next growing season. Here's an example of an actual set of goals. We have been working on having 2 really clear goals rather than many loosely defined goals. This gives employees a sense of achievement, even if the goal remains something that we continue to improve on for many years. In addition to individual goals, we track a standard set of farm and vocational skills. These are the skills we looked at a few minutes ago. There are 52 standard vocational skills. It's a huge spreadsheet with a row for each skill and a column for each person. Yellow indicates the skill is newly acquired for the time period we're reviewing. We use standard definitions that are the same for everyone and standard skill levels that we try to apply consistently. The pathway for skills starts with being introduced to the skill, just trying the skill out. Next is achieved. Achieved means that the skill can be performed consistently with coaching if needed. Being able to work independently on a skill means that the person can do the task without oversight or coaching. Leading a skill means that you can teach the skill to someone else, or you're able to lead someone else in that task. Figuring out how to accomplish everything needed in the day takes some planning. We may have 20 to 40 people working in the field, including growers, staff, volunteers, and groups. So how do we arrive at a specific work schedule? We want to make sure that we know what we want to accomplish each day. And with that many people involved in the fields, it's also important to think about how you want to get those things accomplished. You want to think about the flow and management of the day. You want to know who is going to be doing what, when, and where. You want to think about when that task is going to be finished and what the next task is going to be, and make sure you have all the tools ready. You don't want to have 20 people waiting on you to decide what is next. You also want to have some backup jobs in mind in case the field isn't ready, the task is too hard, or the job gets finished in record time. How do we go about assigning tasks? We start with a weekly task list created by the farm manager that shows the required farm tasks for the week. It includes all the tasks that must get done. Then, the team leaders meet at 8:30 a.m. each day to assign tasks and teams for each team leader and coordinate between programs. We review a lot of questions. Who is going to be here? What are the details of any volunteers or volunteer groups? What are the needs of the education program for assistance or space? Overall, what are the priorities for the day if we can't accomplish everything? Then we assign teams based on who is going to be here for the day and what tasks are best suited for each person. We consider what tasks does each person enjoy and excel at, including the leaders. What goals and skills are each person working on? What is the skill level of returning volunteers, and is anyone new? We want to make sure to identify the highest skill jobs and make sure they are staffed appropriately. For example, if a grower or volunteer knows how to hoe, they should always be hoeing instead of hand weeding. When assigning teams, we intentionally make teams to be inclusive. We want every team to have a grower and a volunteer. Inclusion is the foundation of our mission. We want volunteers and growers working together because we want to create opportunities for the growers to become the teachers. Some of our growers have been working at Red Wiggler for more than 10 years, so they know what to do and what to expect. They know what a kohlrabi is and how to harvest it. They know where the tools are stored. They know what the farm processes are and what the seasons look like. They know to stand in the aisles and not the beds. By pairing growers up with the new volunteers, roles are reversed. The person who came to help others is actually the person who's receiving an education about vegetable farming. By pairing growers with interns and regular volunteers, we create space for relationship building and truly getting to know one another. We are building community. There are a few limiting factors as we decide who is assigned to each job. First of all, safety. We don't want to assign someone a job without training or having the support needed to keep it safe. Think about harvest knives. Second, the farm has to deliver. We have real customers arriving at 2 o'clock and we need to be ready for them. So we need to fill the highest skill jobs first, the ones that are most critical. On the flip side, we need to ensure that the least skilled worker is having a meaningful role and is contributing in their own way. Nobody wants to sit on the sidelines watching or doing busy work. One last limiting factor is how much bandwidth we have for training. Not everyone is in training mode every day. Usually around 2 to 4 people are directly working on farm skills and goals each day. And the rest of us are doing jobs we already do well. So we have developed a plan for the day. Now, how do we communicate our plan? At 9 a.m. Monday mornings, we have a field walk with our entire field staff. We do a visual walking tour of the farm with an emphasis on tasks for the upcoming week. This creates opportunities for all staff to see weekly changes in the field and hear about upcoming plans. We look at how are the crops growing? How are the weeds growing? Where are we planting this week? And where are we harvesting? The walking tour is also a chance for learning. We talk about cover crops. What kind of cover crops are we growing and why? What are the beneficial insects and flowers that we can see? What are the differences in the varieties that we're growing? Everyone is encouraged to participate with questions, and we change up the leader of the tour once in a while so that we share different perspectives. Here's an example of our weekly and daily schedule. At 9 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, we meet with everyone, staff and volunteers. And each morning, we display the weekly schedule that lists out the daily tasks up on the board. We review the week overall. Big things like what groups are coming, when are the markets, What does the weather look like? Then we review what the day looks like. What are the tasks that need to be completed? What time and how many breaks to expect? Is there something special like a group arriving later in the morning? At the end of the meeting, we read off the team leaders and their teams and make sure everyone knows where they are headed. Sometimes there's days when we need the whole board just for the day. This is an example of a more complicated day when we were going to have a total of 50 people in the fields, 29 of our regular staff and volunteers, plus an additional 21 corporate volunteers. So we needed to really think through the day. As you can tell, each team had a team leader, the number of people that were going to be working in their team, the tasks that were expected, as long as the tools that were needed for their task. This way, everyone was prepared ahead of time to know what to expect. So much going on, having as many systems in place as possible sure makes life easier. Let's review some of the systems we use to make things less chaotic. We try to identify routine, regular, and recurring tasks. These are jobs that occur regularly that growers and staff know what to do and know what to expect. These are jobs that help build leadership and increase independence. Their routine nature can be calming, especially sometimes transitioning into the morning. These jobs might be with a support person or completely independent. They could be paired with a volunteer. Here's some examples of routine, regular, recurring tasks. Folding towels in the kitchen. Unloading the dishwasher every day. Cleaning tools. Being the CSA assistant, helping to set up the vegetables or greet customers. Using the push mower. Taking the compost buckets up to the compost and stirring the compost. Standard operating procedures are another way to simplify and make work more consistent. We have a few different kinds. Here's an example of one we use at the wash station. This is a good example of when you're setting expectations clearly of what you want done, when you want things done consistently. It's also a good way for developing leadership skills because a grower can teach a volunteer on how to clean the wash station. Here's an example of a simple one-page work instruction with pictures. We have these for tasks like building cleaning, tool cleaning, and doing the compost. Here's an example of a simple chart that we use at the point of use. This is showing the tare weights of the different containers that we have on the farm, and it's taped to each side of each scale. One thing that can add structure and control the chaos is consistency. We try to take consistent breaks. As much as possible, everyone stops work at the same time, and we aim for a break at 10:30. We don't want to work more than an hour and a half on the same task. During hot weather, we take more and longer breaks. We also have a consistent lunch hour. This way, everyone knows when to expect lunch. We eat lunch together, which creates community and more opportunity for volunteers and growers to interact. Overall, we try to create systems that are repeatable and are divided out by specific job tasks. Everyone learns the steps and knows what to expect. Everyone, including growers, volunteers, and staff, have an important role and are an integral part of the process. Growers learn the system, which creates ownership. By using the same systems, we all know the language, so communication and tasking is easier. As much as possible, we try to stick to our systems. One example of this is planting kale. Each person has a separate task, and usually multiple jobs are going on at the same time. Let's briefly take a look at how this process works. First, we prepare the beds and fields ahead of time. It's important to get tractor work done before you're managing 20 volunteers in the field. Second, we make sure to gather all our tools and plants needed ahead of time. Once we arrive at the field, we explain the job and have a grower demonstrate what is expected of each task. Sometimes there may be a need for hand weeding. Then we mark the lines with the dibblers to create consistent spacing. One job may be carrying the trays. Another job is to lay out the plants. Then we have planters planting, and we have waterers. The watering team is usually working separately than the planting team. They come behind the planting team, fill up the watering cans, take the jugs of water up to the field, and then we might have separate people watering. We finish up by laying out the irrigation and the covers. Each of these tasks are important. And when it's working, everyone is working independently on a job that they enjoy and are excelling at doing it. To sum up, we are most successful when growers are working independently on jobs they enjoy and excel at. Some of the lessons we've learned. It's okay to acknowledge that care farming is hard work. Farming is challenging, and working with a neurodiverse population, while rewarding, is challenging. And even after 25 years in this field, we don't have all the answers. Some days are going to be difficult. And it's okay to acknowledge that. Second, it's important to recognize how hard everyone is working and to plan fun activities into your schedule. We like to take watermelon and popsicle breaks on hot days, occasional field trips to get ice cream, apple pick, or visit the local fair. In the fall, we go on walks, and in the winter, we take educational field trips to other local farms. We also try and celebrate staff and volunteers with birthday celebrations, intern departures, and our annual holiday party. Third, make sure to use your network. Everyone wants to help. Thanks for watching our presentation. Please follow us at redwiggler.org and carefarmingnetwork.org, and on Instagram and Facebook. Feel free to reach out to us at carefarm@redwiggler.org with any questions, or if you're a care farm and would like to be featured on our website.